Good. Now, these are the yellow Asiatics. So the flowers poke straight up, let it hang down, and they're soft yellow. And these are every color of the rainbow. You got like the pear ones, the red ones.
You don't really have the ones.
No, I had to dig them up. They were so crowded. And they just divided so well after the ton of these, so you're welcome. Please take some home and put them in your garden and grow them this spring. Okay, just try to move along. All right. So. Do the. All right, so let's take a look at today's lesson. Can we put that up here? We're still
People are coming in.
okay, well, a few more minutes. So as you guys are looking at this throughout the weeks, anything that you want to ask questions about or things that you might have tried?
Yeah, I got a question about the context of the different past tense,
Okay,
because I was able to understand two of them, the instant one and the habitual one, but I don't know where I'd use the context of that third one.
then would that be the N perfective?
I think so. The one that's not or
Say it again.
the one that's not the s or the. So yeah, I think that N perfective.
Okay, so we have a, right? We have a GH perfective. And then we have an N perfective. Okay, past tense perfective, past tense, right? So. So you're asking about this N perfective, I think, is that right, Ben? Okay, so there, I looked it up just last week, so there, you go online and look it up too. So it's P and AT. And this is what's happening in these verbs. So atelic and telic, okay? So what this means is that it's the nature in which the verb occurs. So some verbal acts, so you have the verb and the whole conjugation to give you examples of the English language to understand that it's how long and the manner in which the verbal act takes place. Okay, so one is quicker, and that's the S. So I call this like the iterative, like wham. It's like I kicked the ball. So that's instantaneous. I kicked it and it's off on its own, right? So that's like instantaneous or iterative. And then the GH one we talked about last time as well are verb actions that take a while, and they're long and enduring. For example, blossoming. So a tree starts to bloom. It doesn't bloom and then instantaneously be done. It blooms maybe over a 2-week period or maybe a month. So those kind of past tenses are going to use the GH inherently in the verb because it's talking about, the type of past tense that's happening. So it's manner, the way in which it's happening. And so go online and just type in telic, but not telic, or whatever you want to. Telic versus atelic, and it'll pop up a nice grammar page for you. There's several to look at, and you can read through that and better understand what this is about. And then the N perfective means that it's complete good. It's used in, like, say, to put things down. So if I take this cup, this metana, right? So it's so the difference, like the placement of it, like it's there, it's standing where it's going to be. It's not still developing, it's not unfurling. It's kind of permanent. So it's so there it is. Okay, and that's why in the telic and atelic realm, it's telling us, inherently by the verb and the verb meaning, the root, what's going on in that verb. Like I could say, and see if I can give you a good example, maybe like so. So te. Does. Ta'atan te chef. I'm so te chef means I'm going, like I'm heading to the city. Now, if I'm talking about going, then, or maybe I'm on my way there. I'm sorry, you can't see this over there, I'm not sure. I should use third person. I'll go back to third person. Okay, so. Touch, here, he touch, he's going to the city, and then, his Yah. And then Nas. Okay, oh, yeah, so touch is going, his Yah is en route. In this case, and then Nasya, they went. And notice that we get an N perfected right here. We got an S perfected here. This is the imperfected touch. His Yah and Nasya. So you got both the S perfected and also a change up front here, which is very interesting. So but this again is talking about the manner in which the verb occurs. So if that helps understand. In time, it will make more and more sense, especially if you look at Timothy 18.
Yes, yeah, is.
Like going or in route. Let's say you saw somebody and you said, well, I'm on my way to the store, but I ran to the post office. You say, okay, you're already took off, you're already in travel, but you haven't gotten there yet. So now you say, truck man station, now I'm heading to the main.
So touch what, look up?
Touch is present tense.
What do you say?
Present
Present.
tense, time, present. Now you go touch. Head. There's your future, touch head, will be. So on that list of stuff I gave you on the last two lists, you know, well, I put Tay there as the future tense. So you can put that on any present tense verb. And any verb that has an S perfected. And then it gets into the future, okay? So that's so head on your list. If you look at your handout or look at the list, I just gave you a long list of nouns and grammar for the last two times. It's the same one pretty much. At the end down there, put head, future tense. So you're adding that. So anytime, so say touch head, case ya, okay, you can say that case ya, okay, that means they will be going, and they will be en route to, but they're not there yet. So now I can't say usually nasya, okay. I've been thinking about that, saying he went, but I would say nasya, te, I suppose you could say that would mean something like he will have gone by then. Maybe something like that. Maybe he will have walked there. So by the time you talk to him, he will already have walked to the store. So maybe there's a way to get that te even as past tense. And like I was saying, remember that our past tenses operate just a little different, you know, and of course our English understanding of tense as well. That's why I spent time talking about this in general. But I do want to look at Timothy 18 and read that, and I think that will help you really come to a better understanding of what's going on there. And why. And they are static, so don't be concerned about that. I mean, if the verb is using an N already, it's there. I mean, somebody did this homework for us thousands of years ago. And if it's a GH perfected, somebody did that thousands of years ago. If it's an F perfected, somebody did that thousands of years ago. I mean, those are there, they're in place. So just be aware that we have three of them. And it is confusing, but don't be confused, meaning that you'll understand eventually, and you just have to learn by rote memory, I suppose, what the actual word is, right? So, you know, and that's just vocabulary building on our parts. Any other questions for anybody about this, you know, what we were discussing the last couple of times? All right, so did anybody get a chance to compose any more sentences, any more schneh son? You guys get a chance to try that? We're gonna practice that today. Okay. But I can back out there. Okay, so listen. Okay, so could we get everybody to go around and say Belaha, Well, say your name, Nashli, so, Lashli, Nashli,
Gee, that's. Gee. Oh, Terry.
Nashli. I am, Nashli.
I am.
True, Nashli.
Jackson, John Wheeler.
Nectar,
Sinda Nashli.
Chasnane Nashli.
Sigitesta Nashli.
Nectar. Unclick your speaker. Anybody start, Britt?
Britt Nestle.
Drew Nestle.
Oh, Ben Tuya Street and then Nashley.
Ben Nashli. I've got my sister too here. Emily Nunley. If I'm talking about you, sit down. Come here and introduce yourself. Say Emily Nashli.
Emily Nestle.
Katrina Nestle.
Yogina Nestle.
Nashri Hone Yilashri.
Pardon? Naa-ch'it Street, none sure. She doesn't have her speaker on. Okay.
Delahama. Mane Shriek.
Dalaha, when you say. Nashli. Okay, so last, one more. Oh, do it. Would you like to turn the speaker on, or you're mute, or mute?
Jalatre Nunchly. I don't. Jalatre Nunchly.
We push left, all right. All right, so taking the lesson I want to start with, because what I want to spend the second part of today is just us practicing our simple sentences. So, you have to screw your hand up, because I have my own screen, but yeah.
I can pull that. You want to pull that?
No, I can, are you, so are we gonna share it on the screen, or how are we gonna? do this?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right. So, start with the same review as last time. I want you to psychologically, emotionally, and, politically acknowledge and understand how big our language area is. Because most of it lies in the state of Oregon, and the very small little tip of it is in California. And what I said last time was that these languages historically were mutually intelligible. And somebody defined that for me again today. Mutually intelligible.
Understanding
To who?
each other.
To each other, right? So if I'm from the Mekanu village on the road and I was down here at Naa-ch'it, those two people could understand each other, okay? They would understand that they have dialects, but they would understand each other, okay? So I always put that there to remind us that we at one time had a large landmass that our people lived in and share the same center of the world, as I've said before, but creations, right? So that's not the way it was. Okay, so taking a look at today, I wanted to talk about vowel length to start with, because as we write, for your writing conventions, so you learn to write, I want to share the vowel length protocols, the vowel length grammar, the vowel length rules, okay? So you'll notice that I put some color on here for you. So hopefully it'll make sense, I'm sure it will. So I'm skipping a part already, so maybe I should head back first. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. So vowels and syllables that begin with a vowel are written with a glottal stop. This was asked last time. So if I have the word, as I have an example down there, so if I have which in English means an apple, see how it's got a glottal stop and an apostrophe before the vowel. So that's a vowel initial word or a vowel initial syllable. Always have to have a consonant in front of it.
Can I see him? That is very nice.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Can I see
Okay.
him? Can you see him?
They can see that, like,
Oh, okay.
You can.
But maybe if you type in the chat what he's writing, that would be helpful. I don't know.
That might be helpful. Okay. So anytime you write the total words that begins either at the beginning of the word or beginning of the syllable, and it's a vowel, it always has a consonant in front of it, which is a glottal vowel or an apostrophe. But officially it's known as a glottal stop. So I gave those examples there. So it's not just going to be like the letter E there, the sound E, it's going to be E. And if you remember what I said last time is that any time that we're making a sound for speech, and there's any constriction in our mouth or throat or nose not so much, but it's called, so it's like a glottal stop. So I can't say E without my glottis actually slapping shut and then reopening for just a split second. Otherwise, if you remember last time I said, if I say the sound E, if I didn't use a glottal stop, it would be like E. See how who talks like that? Hush for dinner. So what happens structurally is that the glottis is flapping shut so that I can produce a, oo, etc. Okay, and so I just wanted you to be aware of the question about why do you start anything with a vowel initial word or syllable with a glottal stop? Well, because it's a consonant. Anything that blocks airflow in speech production are consonants. Anything that is produced that doesn't have constriction is a vowel. And remember, we have 5 vowels. We just have E, U, A, those are our 5 vowels. Okay, and they require that consonant. So the next portion of this, which it runs into, is I gave an example here. A, that green is dark, isn't it? A, in first position. Second position, which is apple, got a drum, but I just show you examples in the beginning of the syllable, in the middle of the word. And the last one, say, means the onset, initial, origin of, or the start of something. So you notice I just showed you 3 positions. So that whenever it starts with a vowel, it's going to have a glottal stop in front of it or a consonant. Okay, same difference. And then I talked to you last time a little bit about vowels and consonants. All right, so not too bad. And this is on page 106 in your book. So then open your book to page 106. Okay.
I didn't bring my.
Okay, we don't have to. We're just saying that we're getting some. Yeah. But I'm saying that's where it's at.
Put your hands to 106.
Does anyone that's remotely need a language book?
Yes.
It's in
The orange one?
Is it the orange one?
Yeah, because if you don't have one, we can probably send you one.
Okay, I got the orange one. Thank you.
So just put it in the chat if you, like, whoever needs one.
Okay, I don't know how many I've left. We've only had it in the box, right?
Oh.
I mean,
There's some at the main office too.
okay, okay.
I don't know how many, but there is some there.
All right, so for this little segment on this page 3, I'm using C's and B's, okay, just so you can see here, C and B. So the C is a consonant and the B is a vowel, okay? All right. And so you can, so I gave you an example there. So open syllables end with a vowel. So the word is na, say, ya. Na, say, ya. I went or I walked. Na, say, ya. Okay, see it there? And you notice. And you see it, so it's na, CBB, say, CBB, ya, CB. Okay, so anytime that you have an open syllable, it ends in a vowel, okay? So any word that ends in a vowel in language is called open, Okay, its comparison is closed syllables end in a consonant. And the vowel is short usually, okay, it's not long. All right, so here's the word ta-at-dun. Ta-at-dun, which means the town of Crescent City. Ta-at-dun, and notice that the second syllable, at, ends with a consonant, so it's a closed syllable. And done ends in an N, so it's a closed syllable. And those vowels in the middle are always short, they're never long. We don't have like, you would say, you know, that doesn't happen in our language. So just know that anytime there's a closed syllable, it's always gonna be a short vowel. Okay, just one letter, that's it, okay? Now, closed syllables that end with a consonant, the vowel is short. Excuse me, and then okay, so final open syllables are short too. So like the word te, say, ya. So because it's the last vowel syllable in a word and it ends in a vowel, it's not long. Like we don't say te, say, ya. We say te, say, ya. Te, say, ya. So just know that any open syllable with a vowel is short for your writing purposes. Okay, this is all about writing a neighborhood. Monosyllabic words. What's the monosyllabic word?
One.
So it's got one syllable. Give me a monosyllabic word in English. One. Very good. More. Christmas.
Lunch.
Grateful.
Yeah.
Two syllables, right? All right. Okay. All right, so, yeah. So monosyllabic words with an end of the vowel are always long, okay? Like if I tell you, sla, then just knock it off, stop it. Fla, it's not fla, it's fla. If I say gold or yellow, stu, stu, it's not stu, it's stu. So anytime it's open on the rock, say, it's not say for stone or rock, it's say. Monosyllabic words ending a vowel are always long. And this here is here for your reference, just again, but I'm just going through it for our writing purposes. Okay. Where are we at here? Now, open syllables that add syllables are long. Now, I just told you that a word ending in a vowel is always short, right? Until you add another syllable. So let's look at the example. So I see it, okay? Now, which is C with the tilde meaning nasalization. Okay. Now I will see it. We've added te, another segment. So you have to double that vowel length. So it's not it's okay, so you're doubling that vowel if it ends in the vowel and you add another segment. Okay. And so that's pretty much almost all of them.
Well, and it just, I was thinking of examples like key, but if you make it tricky, it gets short, right? Like it's the opposite of what you're just saying.
So let's look at that.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Key,
Okay, key, which is white.
that's mono, it's long.
Key.
And now if you make it tricky,
Okay, so then you're adding the two to the front,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, I guess it's.
So key is pink. But you're not gonna have, you're gonna have to remove,
Yeah.
you're gonna remove this because it's no longer one syllabic.
Wow.
It's now just another syllable, see? So just so you know, because you wouldn't even, yeah, like we started with white, key, key, right? Now we add street, which means red. So street, key, it's a brand new word. And that goes away, and that means pink, right? Because you take red and white, what do you get? You get pink, right? So street, key, very good example. I mean, good point to make.
Yeah.
And then on the next page, what I put there was that I want you to remember that the schwa, which is our D, right, the schwa, which is the central vowel, is always short. Doesn't matter what environment it's in, if it's on the onset, if it's in the middle of the skin, it's never double, ever. Okay, I'll give you some examples. Huh? Notice it's just one vowel there, even though it's open syllable, because it's that's why.
Always, always, always.
Yeah, and button, that's a fly. So notice it's never gonna be button. Right, it's not gonna happen. Well, you could try to make it happen, but, and then the last one, dumb.
That one.
So there you go, so it's just, again, that's a syllable ending in a vowel, or no, it's not even at the end. But anyway, you still say it's
Yeah.
short, so schwa always is short. Just, so these little things that you'll remember over time, but I just want you to be aware of, okay? So that's what this is about today, this portion. Any questions, that brought up again more about vowels and consonants and vowels, anybody? Okay, yeah, okay. All right.
Matt Lashne,
Fine.
sorry, this is my first Tolowa lesson, so I'm just wondering about the tilde. Is that just like nasal?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you nailed it. So like in the word example, lush, I see it, lush. And then, yeah, we go, yeah, because it's nasalized. We do have some words that are full in, like the past tense of that is eat. It's a glottalized N, but that's another story. But yes, that's the tilde is nasalization. And it means usually second person. But on the verb stand, it's not. It has to do something else. But in the middle, it's always second person. You did it like home, yash, you are going. You see it. See, yeah, versus he sees it, I see it. So, yeah, that's exactly what it is. All right,
Thank you.
so, yeah, and then was there, and then I also left all this in here from last time. About the discuss, as far as the, you can see, like. I talked to you about variances of pronunciation, just review for those who weren't here. I spent a lot of time last time. Making us aware that there are variances in pronunciation. So this is page 8. If you look at that, page 8, I put it down, I just carried it down. Because I wanted us to move beyond our limited biases that we may have for whatever reason that is, okay? And just so you know that these words are collected from old speakers. These are not new words, they're not whatever they are. These are just different people said different things in different locations. And sometimes in the same family, they would flip flop even like, I remember the word for praying being chukekni, but somebody else would say chukekne. But they, ni and ne mean the same thing, the one that does that, okay, the noun maker. So that's why I spend all this time, not all this time, but just showing examples of how this happens, okay, or, and, so just to pick a couple like, and so, I mean, so that's, I'm just, so want to revisit this because you may have heard your grandpa or your grandma or whomever, your uncle say it a certain way. And then you say, well, you're not saying it that way in class. Well, that's okay, because there's different ways sometimes to say the same thing. That's the point of this. Like I think probably, well, these are all just variances in sound, this one here. Set, huh? Oh, yeah. So anyway, that's just to be aware of that. Now to compare Tolowa to Dee-ni, which is the northern part of our language, they have a short vowel system in their language. So some things just are different, and I mean, they're the same word. Like say, we say, nah, he or she is working. Nah, and then they say, not. So do you hear all that? So not English. See, it's all the parts are there, just a short vowel.
Yeah.
So we would know immediately when everybody was fluent where they're from, just by how they express themselves. Okay, but you would still understand what they meant or what they're saying. Okay. And at the bottom down there, I did again those just differences. Chile first, number 2 there, Asian little man. That cracks me up. I did hear that. They call, some boy little, which is, I guess, correct, right? But Che Hirsch is kind of like, I call it the official noun for it. But yet to say, he's just a little man, not yet, but he's a little one, and so on. So that's what that's about. I just want to revisit that because I think it's important. I gave you more on this next page. And then the last collection there I wanted to talk to you about is that because English is a noun-based language, it loves a noun. It likes to have a noun for every nuance in the world. Like, for example, like animal, baby animals. Oh my goodness, how many different baby animals are there? Chick, eaglets, foals,
Fries.
fry. I mean, so every type of English animal has, almost every one of them, cub has its own name for being a baby. What does our language do? We just say the name of the animal. So let's say soup, mishkaya, the salmon's offspring. Let's say kitten, bushri, mishkaya, the cat's babies, the cat's offspring. And you use that for every animal in the world. So our language doesn't care about that. You see what I'm saying? And that's their babies, so their offspring. Yeah. Is mine. Is yours. And then is Alan's babies.
Like Shangi, mine. Shangi, mine.
Yeah, non-negative, mine, yeah, those are pronouns, we'll get into those another day.
He's like,
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. For the pronoun. So just again, so we can keep our minds open as we move into this project, and start learning vocabulary and maybe for the first time. And then the last page of this, page 10, I just concluded the vowel discussion. And the top chart, what does that represent? It represents the location where the sound is made in the human speech tract, right? So high, so E, U are a high vowel. Because listen to it. E, U are low vowels. And low front, low back, and a central vowel, which is those are our 5 vowels. Now we can take those 5 vowels and add features to it. So, for example, the letter I, which is pronounced E, it can be eek or E. So those are features added to the vowel. Skip over to the letter U, which is pronounced oo. So it's ooh. See, we don't use that part of our body in English. Like a bird that flies through the air. Yes, shrunk to peel things with a peeler. All right. Like you use it at the end of the word most of the time, but not always. But that's there. And then
A question?
yeah. Question.
Do the tonal changes like the pitch change the meaning? Is there a way to predict how the tone or stress will happen? Or is it more a need to familiarize yourself with the vocabulary over time to learn the patterns?
Well, that's a very good question. If our language was a tone language, the question was, does the tone, how we say the word, change its meaning, for example? In a language like Navajo, which is a cousin language of ours, does have tone. And what that would mean that I'm going to make one up because I don't use tone. Our language doesn't use tone. But I'll say if I said the word for crow, which is, shra. What if I said shra? It might be horn. I'm just making stuff up. So, I mean, that's how basically how it functions. And we don't have that in our language. We did none of the West Coast Dene languages use tone, I don't think so. Along here in this part of the world. But now the Navajos certainly do, they have tone. And what you can do is you're getting 2 meanings out of one word by changing the stress pattern, right? Now, what we do have that's important in our language is how you actually say the word. So you just say shop, you say shop. You see what I'm saying? Now I understand you said don't shop. I get you what you're saying, that's better than you said don't shop. And usually that's with our long vowel, okay, so, shock. So you just use that long vowel, there's two vowels put together, just probably raise your voice there, like the word hey, long, well, Teela tilde. Hey, long. That's that's basically how you know where the intonation largely go most of the time. Like we have the word here, like, you know, where it was an edge, or, well, the word is that. But the vowel drives how you pronounce it and the length of it, okay? So hopefully, whose question was that?
That was Brit.
Thank you, Brent. Yeah, so, yeah, we don't have the tone, the intonational variances. We looked at that really hard back in 1995. We really searched out to see, you know, how we do have a feature in Tolowa, just to continue on that for a sec, that we have what's called tone agenesis, that we have the potential to become a tone language, but never did. And when I say that kind of stuff, it means that all languages are living entities, believe it or not, and they evolve over time. And for some reason, the Navajo language exploited tone genesis and became a tone language. Our language, for whatever reason, chose not to, or did not do that. Now, if this language is spoken for another 10,000 years, and all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, tone takes off, then it'll be there. But the reason I say that is because we have set patterns, like the stress pattern. So like getting back to tone, struck, see, and then eventually, if that tone was messed with by the language itself, it could alter the meaning or the way it's happened, the manner, that kind of stuff. And so there's certain patterns, like a longer word, like the swirl pattern on the basket. See the la, you know, so on and so on. There's three basic patterns of stress in our language. And again,
Sorry, I could be misunderstanding. I just wanted to clear that up. Would you say that tone and inflection are kind of parallel, or is it different in our language? Meaning like if you were going to ask a question with minimal words, so like chluk, but if you're going to question like chluk, would that actually work in the language? Or
well, that's English, right?
Okay.
So, in English, we raise our voice at the end like groceries. You know, like to really buy groceries, right? You know, you know what I mean? It's I'm joking around, but ours is home. So you say look, home. That's how we say it in our language.
Yeah,
so
we
don't raise it at the end to ask questions. You add H-A-A tilde. Home. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is that your mom? Is that your mom? You know,
is that your baby daddy? Is that your baby daddy?
Tuesday, huh? You're lover? Yeah.
So do we need to be careful of that as we're learning, then, right? That we don't add in rising intonation to questions.
And we do.
That's the bias you were speaking of, right? That's something you might just instinctually do.
Yeah.
If you're an English speaker.
That's how we know English, but that's not structurally how we do it in our language.
So there was another question, were other surrounding languages to Dee-ni tonal around here?
I don't think so.
Not very
I don't think any of the Oregon, California, Dene languages are tonal. I've been working with the Dene languages from the Eel River, and I have not found tone that I've seen so far. But I'm not sure, like a Tlingit, which is a way north. I can't remember way the heck up there if they have tone or not. So Tlingit, unsubstrately down deep in it, is a Dene language. And then, you know, it's surface language.
Not in Europe, but Hupas do have, but does with the questions.
They do what?
Use tonal with questions.
Oh, they raise it at the end, or did they raise it at the beginning, or will it say?
Britt, do you know if it's at the end or the beginning of a question?
For question marks?
Yeah, so you can do, you can use like how we use huh, you can use just like in Yurok, you can use Hess. So it's like that
Oh.
question marker, but in Hoopa, you can also drop the and you can just raise your pitch at the end.
So
So
just like English then.
mhm. You could say like metlashne anolye or you could just say metlashne anolye.
Oh, okay, so it does work.
But
in
I
English
don't,
as well.
I don't know for sure that that's a first language speaker thing, or if that's a second language
Yeah.
teacher adaptation over time. But I have asked this specific question before in Hoopa, and that's the answer I got, that you don't always
Yeah.
have to use the you can use like your gesturing, facial expression, pitch rise.
Okay, but I like that closeness, the home, we're pretty close, you know, from the question marker and that as well. And then in Europe, what is it again?
Did someone have information?
Hess.
Questions.
Hess, but there's no
Hess.
pitch rise.
Just
So
Hess.
yeah, so
Oh.
the same sentence in Yurok, you know, metlashne Hess.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Hess.
Is that me, is that Lauren, maybe you're saying, is that what that meant?
Can you say that one more time?
So you said Met Lashmi, a Hess, is that Lauren? Is that what that means, or no?
I was in Hoopa and I said, your name's Metlashne, right? Like you're,
She
it's
asked me
kind of
that.
like how people use it even right now. Like they'll say, oh, you're so-and-so's granddaughter, huh? In
Yeah.
English, it's like that. But you could use that or that Hess, but like, that's why I was asking that question about pitch, because in Yurok, you don't use it. You don't change your pitch or your tone. You can change your tone at times to change meaning a little bit. Like if you say like ayekwe, or if you say ayekwe,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like certain things too. Like if you say keluch is like your mouth, but if you say keluch, it's like shut up. So it kind of changes the meaning.
Yeah.
There's like a few of those. So that's kind of where my question was, because I was coming from the place of Hoopa thinking like sometimes you can use that and you don't have to, you can kind of bring it up.
Okay.
But I wasn't sure if Tolowa also did that.
And then we too have that same thing where you change the word a little bit, like if I say, hey, and it means I've seen something that I think's kind of, I don't know, sketchy. Like but I go, hey, really sketchy. Back off a little bit. You know, like, so we do have that as well for emphasis. And so that exists as well, but just change it from being sketchy or weird to, whoa. You know, new walk. Yeah, it's something, yes, going on the new walks and that, you know, something like that. A lot of times that's used when you see something you haven't seen before. You know, like, I never saw that before. And then, you know, and then somebody maybe that's, you know, as a well-known Indian devil, you say, hey,
Yeah.
or
So that's
something like
like a
that.
question in that regard a little bit. So my frame of reference for like inflection patterns is completely different from Dene languages because I've been around Coast Salish languages my whole life. I've noticed that with Lemmy Chaucin, one of the things that they do is they have the same pitch throughout the entire sentence. Like, I don't know the words, so I couldn't give you a good example, but it's like, hello, all you men and women, welcome to the thing. And it's like the same pitch without very much inflection at all. I noticed that in the app, when I'm listening to a sentence being said, it's like, Dala and Huoshi, or not very much inflection as well. Were you just about to get into some of those inflection patterns, or like, how do I know what the proper inflection is if it's different from English?
Well, again, I just like to start out, if you see that double vowels anywhere, make those long, okay, like, you know, te, se, ya. And then, you know, es, ya, you know, for now. I mean, I'd have to set up a lesson and try to walk us through that more structurally. But and of course, a lot of us rote memory as far as just hearing it. And, you know, it's like they always say the phonology of any language is the cream of the language. You know, if I'm learning English or Japanese or Kazakh language, I'm going to mess up the phonology to start with. But as I become fluent, that's called the cream of the language. Tla ite tlanti hawa nasa. Tlandai chi si. Mary Shrinis, oh, mountain, way this lot. So that's that cream of the language, and that comes with fluency, or it comes with, just that whole thing. So I'm gonna say, don't stress about it right now. It's a good thing to be concerned about and want to know, but I would rather you just start learning the vocabulary and then just going for it. And then, like, last time, Punchy gave us a sentence, she nasta plantation, nasha, she nasta. I'm going to the beach. And so she said, Nasha, I'm walking to the beach. She Nasha, Nasha. And I didn't know if she was saying Nasha or Nash. So Nash means I'm talking. See, so, yeah, so I'm talking to the beach. So, which we believe in, right? It's a being, right? It takes care of us. So, so I said, now say that again, and I asked you just for clarity, because you're a learner, so I didn't know if you were saying Nasha or not. But there's a glottal stop in Nasha, so I'm talking, so, yeah. So she Nasha, I'm talking to the beach. She Nasha, I'm walking to the beach. Yeah. All right, the glottal stops are really important in this language. That they shorten sounds and they can change the meaning. And then you have to change Nasha, Nash, Nash, Nash. It's really sharp right there, but that's where that glottal stop. And that'll all come in time. So just thank you for the great questions, because that's how we understand language better and better. Okay.
Real quick, Matt Lashane, we're gonna move that out a little bit closer, so when you talk it, maybe if that works.
Sestelicho.
Sustelichu.
Chu. Oh, I didn't.
One thing that we do a lot of English speakers too is like what I just did. Sustain. I said sustelichu. I glottalize the CH, and we do that a lot because we're traversing back and forth from English to Tolowa. But that all irons out over time, and I don't want any hyper, criticalness of yourself or anybody else ever, because we're all learning, and we're just gonna become, more relaxed, okay? I believe. Okay, so what I wanted to work on today was going back to those sentences thing, because okay, what I'm trying to do, and I hope I'm not front loading everybody too much, but I wanted to give you some of the core elements: spelling rules, long and short vowels, talked about variances and all kind of stuff. And I want you to have some basic tools you need to compose sentences. So back to Punchy's example, she nasha. I beach to am walking. Now, if she's gonna make it future tense, say she nasha e. I will be walking to the beach. I'm not ready to go yet. At 1, I'm going to be walking to the beach, for example, that kind of thing. So just add the te on the end. So let's go back and look at this mess of pages I got here, starting on page 5, 6, and 7. And I just gave you. So where's the word order one? Did I leave it in this one, or maybe I took it out? Shoot, maybe I did.
It's in here, I thought.
Did I leave it? Well, I took some stuff out to try to shorten it for this lesson. It's definitely the previous one. But remember what I said about sentences. What are they? Our language is a vowel. Was that last time?
No, let's go back today.
Okay.
Dungy.
Oh, done. Oh, done. Right, here it is. Thank you. So remember, our language is a vowel final language. Excuse me. A verb final language. Every sentence, pretty much, the vowel, I keep saying vowel, the verb has to be at the end. Okay. And a good example of English, you say, I'm going to town. That would work in Tolowa. Town to, I am going. So, it's a different word order. And remember, I called that syntax. And what was that stupid joke I told you? Do you remember? Yeah, what was it? You were my class.
Yeah, something.
It's what you pay for sitting.
Oh,
Syntax. Not true, it means word order, okay? All right, so the very first sentence was she nashta. I am running. He, not
Nach'it.
So the SH is in the middle of that word, see, that makes it I one. Okay, now that sentence can actually be shorter, because you already know who's doing the running, just say, no, stop, means I'm running. And you can be extra careful and say she, nashta. So you're actually double stating the pronoun in that sentence. You see what I'm saying? And yet I heard it like say, I heard like, so shmanet is my house. And I hear like Daisha Harriet say, she's man, my house. So it's both legal, you know, that is all can just be left out. To shmanet on page there, I'm going to my house. She, shmanet on page there, I'm going to my house. So, but she is an independent pronoun, and the shman is a dependent pronoun, stuck on the noun, okay, or the verb. But again, know that that's legal, okay, either way. So, that's the simplest. Huh?
Don't have to use it.
Don't have to, because you already have that stage. Yeah, it's understood. Yeah, exactly. Then a more complex sentence starts out with we nes, and nes. So the article the again are optional, but a better speaker can get rid of the. They can say, they can just go nes, tree tall. You know, you don't have to say the tree is tall, but you certainly can say the nes. Like when Daisha Amelia talked, she always threw the we in there. She always talked with we. Again, though, I walked up to you and said, nice. You say, oh, yeah, that's a tall tree. Be perfectly fine. And I'm not going to say one's more, let me make grammatical, one's less grammatical, one's more formal, not formal. Nix all that. I think it's just speech choices. You know what I mean? And maybe just like how we use the tree is tall. Versus the tree is tall. And it could be like that too, how you're referring to that tree. So those are simple sentences. And then I made the next one more complex because I wanted to see the subject and the objects in the sentence. Say, so that number 3 is we who tree, don't tree, who chon. So notice that the word order, article, we, the subject, which means think of the subject as the owner of the verb, okay? So Gibushri, if I just skip it and just say Gibushri chong, the cat is eating, right? Now Gibushri don't tree, who chong. So the cat owns the verb, the object is the gopher, there is eating it. You see what I'm saying? So think of the subject always owns the control of the verb.
I can't think in English.
You see, and those have a sitting right next to each other. Because what is it in English? The cat is eating the gopher. So it's a noun on the end.
Yeah.
Boo, doesn't work for us. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so just so we boo shri don shri boo chon. Say it with me. We boo shri don shri boo. With long vowel, with the tilde on it, so it's nasalized. Yeah. Okay, so what I want us to do is practice. I want you to write down 5 simple English sentences today, and then translate them. Or if you want to go for Tolowa first, then that'd be even better. But if you're starting out, I want you to practice now. I want you to come up with, you know, maybe one in first person, one in second person, one in third person at least, or something, you know, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a comfort thing. I want you to explore now, and I want to critique each other, and I want us to, you know, get sentences rolling. Because if you can't say a sentence, you're not talking the language, right? If I go and say, "Wrong," 10 lines.
Everything I did.
Hey, Lashana, that book that you mentioned, that will be sent out, is that kind of give you the template to do kind of what you're talking about and kind of help you guide to build the sentences?
Oh,
108,
yeah,
yes, right here.
in 108 on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's all in there.
Yeah, I tried to be pretty exhaustive on some of it when I wrote this book. I put this together. for us, for anybody, yeah, word order, syntax, it says. The word order syntax is the order where the words are placed in a sentence, okay? And remember, it's English that's backwards. But our English brain goes, it's always backwards or something, out of order, right? Dee-ni, come on.
Oh, well.
Dee-ni, huh?
Mel,
How did I just,
oh,
so,
sorry.
so let's.
I had a question about when you're quantifying. So if we went back to the boucherie sentence, say you were talking about 2 boucheries instead of 1, where would you put Naa-ch'it? Would that be before or after boucherie?
The subject always goes first. So if I said, the boucherie, Fu-chang, the cat is eating the cat. Yeah, it's gonna be, so the boucherie, Fu-chang, the cat.
But if you want to say Naa-ch'it,
Oh, 2 cats. Okay, so numbers always go in front of the noun.
Okay.
So Naa-ch'it, boucherie, dancherie, foods, gashpeya.
Not muted.
Shoot, Shaw. Thank you.
All right.
I got
Now,
a question about predicate adjectives in different tenses. So like if I wanted to say my ear's cold, then that would be like shmush comes. But if I wanted to say like my ears were cold, like yesterday, what would that be?
you add the verb leanly, GHII tilde hyphen LI tilde, leanly was word.
Really?
Yeah, because comes X, because it's kind of fixed. I don't know if we can inflect comes X for past tense. Comes lean X maybe, come lean X something maybe, but another way is just to use the copular verb was lean, link, lean, link.
You know for sure that would.
Yeah, then you know, yeah, you're taking a static thing, which should be in a state of coldness, and make it in the past. Yeah.
Okay.
So like say, I mean, good example is my arm hurts, right? So stane, deendrot, right? Deendrot, it hurts. But if I'm sick, I'm hurting all over from the flu, then I say deenushtrot, I am of sickness. You see, but when there's an object involved, stane, deendrot, my arm aches, my arm hurts.
So it's reflected in the word.
Yeah, so you can reflect it back to yourself. Deenushtrot, I'm sick. Deenushtrot, huh? Are you sick? I'm sick. Yeah. So add links to it. We'll start with that. So cold could be long. Like the tree was tall. You probably could say yin base, probably, but we'll work on that at a different time. Yes. Oh, I think you had your hand up.
Oh, I sort of down around. You said numbers going in front of the noun, go in front of the subject.
Yeah.
The noun, subject.
Well, it could be the object too, because what if it was 3 cats?
Right.
So what if the cat, 3 cats is eating?
Or 2 gophers.
Or 2 gophers. So it just goes before the noun. Okay, so whichever one you're changing. So the cat 2 gophers is eating. See, then you say the boucherie, Naa-ch'it dancherie Fu-chang. Yeah. And we're going to discover something here real short. It's called verb agreement. What that means, the subject, right, owns the verb. But what if the subject now is 3 cats? So it's kache boucherie. The verb changes to be they are eating, not he is eating. So another day, don't worry about today, but just be aware. You know, we'll worry about that later. So make your kernel sentence, your short kernel sentences, and then we're going to share a couple of them if you don't mind. Yes. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I wrote it, and some I'm not sure if I actually got it down.
You're cheating.
So
That's- I'm making a notation to your complaint.
Oh, Dee-ni just not there. Gosh, so this was my challenge is I don't actually write my sentences on things that I did, so I actually say this. Because if I can't, anyway, it's gonna be interesting. To get different shades, right? We done, right? So I'm gonna challenge, I actually make it up. Work like this.
What are you?
No, but you can see. Well, I'm trying to remember they do in Europe. Discuss in Tolowa. So I was teaching her about the future then. Like, Tolowa Jimmy, and he just put together. They lost. So they all agree they're, you know how they do. Yeah.
Christopher Columbus.
So they did agree, so we thought, for Christopher Columbus read the key, family, daddy, rest in peace, just like getting in a book, the warrior, and then the king, and say. Right.
Oh.
The kid, and the dark way now.
You see this.
And the teacher in front of it, and they have it, you know, change the word. Just like we did. Yeah. But anyways, I liked him, so yeah. You saw her. Yeah. Yeah, she's like. Oh. This one is. Yeah.
Today, very well.
Outside, kind of years.
Oh, I honestly don't. What's the orange book?
Okay, so trauma is one of those weird things.
Oh.
Yeah, so they let it put, right? And then there's also like about. Change.
Okay.
The negative. Yeah, it's gonna get two occasional.
We're gonna get.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And I just. bought it.
The way that you write on it, I think would go in the computer. Yeah, but I think it does. So when you got that. And it's supposed to be up here.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get the. Wait. Oh, he's in.
Excuse me. Is this cool? They have discussed the white hair.
Actually, numbers.
We got some right here.
Okay.
Do you want to share them too?
Okay, we're gonna see real quick. You here.
Did someone say my name?
Say my name, say my name.
Rane Stong brought me. My wife just brought me breakfast.
Okay.
eggs. I wanted to say, eggs I'll eat. Chage che yashte.
Jay, Yash, huh? You Jay Sean.
Jay Sean.
Jay Sean. there.
Che,
Because Jay
Sean.
Yash, yeah, Jay Yash is bird or duck. So Chagesh, Jay Yash, that would be like eggs of a duck. So Jay Sean, here.
Che Shang Che.
Jay Sean, here. All right. Okay, next one.
Hey, Melashe, could I ask, without having the book, is there an online resource that can kind of give me some article and other, like the is, does, anywhere I can look to reference that? Would you
The
know?
app for sure.
Yeah,
The
okay.
app, And then the online dictionary,
The way
that doesn't have any rules though, it just has words, right?
Yeah.
Before I say that, hold
It
on.
would have the.
Okay, you want to do your next one, Drew?
Shangei Nes.
Or Dishis? Deji?
Washam, yes. Shangei Nes Ein, your son is tall. Wow.
I skipped the second one, Sinkus taste now because I did it wrong.
Oh, the verb wrong, okay.
Are we just popcorning them or are you going through a rotation?
And we're just going down this list.
Yeah, we're just going around. Okay, who else wants to jump in? Just to keep sharing. And who's Ja again?
Something's.
Oh,
I did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mouse pooped it out.
Hey, it rhymes.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so.
I'll think of each one.
Mutton,
Meeting.
meeting, shrimp, shrimp. Yeah.
It's shitty.
Yeah.
Right?
Or if there's just mouse pooping out too, then you can say, strong, meeting there. Just there's, there's pooping there. Yeah, very good. Wash them. You're on the road.
Yeah.
I can see why you want to work on your pronunciation. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. Anybody else? Up for grabs.
Emmy's got one. She's embarrassed to say it, but she's gonna say it anyway. Okay, I'll help you. Okay. She has the woman is wearing a white shirt.
Wash. Got the word already down. Perfect. Thank you. Anybody else here in the room too? Anybody can share? All right, just not a none, not a.
None.
See the top one.
Sure. Well, she.
What? Hi.
Take down Jason Cha meeting new meet on.
Ja, again.
Take down them. Undon, take down. Dead down. Dead down.
Oh.
Jump. Jason Cha meeting new meet on.
Oh, so so yesterday you canned some meat.
Wow.
Or some deer meat or elk meat or something.
Jason.
Okay, oh, so you canned deer meat yesterday. Wow. Alright.
But date don't.
Yeah, that don't.
Don't.
Yeah,
Date don't.
yeah, that done nighttime. That don't last night.
Date.
It already happened. Night already. Yeah, it already happened. So that done is nighttime. That don't last night. Very good. And che something job meeting nui ni one.
Wow.
So canning means job meeting nui ni. Put it in the jar. That's canning. Yeah, that's how we say canning. Again, those are not new words that came from our grandmas. Didn't canning for a long time, right? All right. And thank you. Dang-chu, who else?
Just only.
Hey, Roger, did you have a hush? Did you have an Indian name? I thought you said something.
What's that?
Do you have a hush bushi, none, huh? You have what? You have an Indian name?
Oh, yeah, years ago in high school, you gave it to me.
Yeah, what is it?
Naa-ch'it on there. Thinking,
Yeah, Naa-ch'it on there.
Naa-ch'it on there.
Oh, yeah, Naa-ch'it means to be pondering over things, and then ne is person.
Because I couldn't think of a name.
Oh, so you just kept on thinking, I guess.
Right, I'm still thinking.
All right, you want to read one of your sentences?
What's
Please?
that?
Read one of your sentences.
I can barely even hear you guys. I'm getting all kinds of static and feedback out of the microphones from the extra noise in the room.
Oh,
So,
did you
yeah,
get a chance to write a sentence at all?
what's that?
Did you write a sentence at all?
Oh, I didn't even know we were writing sentences.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just
No
a
worries.
the short sentence though, just, subject, verb, subject, verb, subject, verb, man running, trees, I don't know, or flowers blooming, whatever you want
The
to say.
cat is sleeping. I don't know.
Aye,
The cat is sleeping.
aye.
I don't know.
Oh, sure.
I don't know what the word is for sleeping.
Hey, lost. Hey, lost. Hey, lost.
Kayla.
Hey, lost. Bullshit. Hey, lost. So who censors those? Gosh. Oh, that's good. Whose senses are on the board right now?
Yeah.
She, none, she.
Okay, none knew hua read them for us.
Skush, yagi, hush.
John.
Milosh, I'm looking, I'm trying to find something here, but do you know the word for eat or consume?
Chong.
Chong. Okay, thank you.
That's third person singular. So remember, each verb is going to have forms, right? I'm eating. Chong, ya, you're eating. Chong, he or she is eating. So you don't have the text or anything, right? Dan, to work from.
No, I don't have much of a reference. I'm trying to kind of just fly through the app and see if I can make sense of some things. It's just a little cumbersome.
Okay. All right. Dang-chu.
Ben, email me your ad, we'll send you one. Anybody else need the book? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, we need more.
I'll make sure you
volunteers.
get my sister's address too, because she needs one, even though I've got one.
Yeah.
Undon six hutton hot nuts. Nutsi. Oh,
So you undone.
undon six hutton. Hot. I wasn't sure.
Cool.
Meeting who?
Yeah, not see.
There.
I talked.
Not see.
I talked. So I talked at the meeting last night.
Yeah.
So that's cool because talking is emotion. Hot is for anything stationary, right? So sleeping, sitting, lying down. Is
Like
hot.
hot sister, but who not see on?
Yeah, so hot's a stop, that's where I live.
Yeah.
So that's where you're in the position of living. Hot's a stop.
Oh.
Yeah, where full, you're talking, weaving, washing, cooking, flying, you're moving, that's cool.
Who movement.
Yeah, cool,
Okay.
where, so talking is a movement thing. I mean, even though maybe your body is still, but you're moving, where anything stationary is hot, right? So again, so to sit down, to sit there and weave, probably can go both ways on that one, probably, because it's stationary-ish, right? Probably go full,
Okay.
to weave even.
Okay.
Yeah, you got another one? Was that your one beautiful?
That's Gabe owns that home.
Bear,
Owns like.
this,
Is there some?
yeah,
Home.
Slick.
Owns like.
Slick is it, so say there's a coffee pot, cafe hot, slick. Is it there? In other words, is there coffee, but slick is anything liquid, so it's sitting there, you know. Is there coffee? Is there water? Is there milk? Use the same verb.
Melashne, if you don't mind trying to work
I
through
don't mind at all.
this. So I just tried a basic sentence. I eat meat, and I just don't know if the phrasing and the order is correct. So I just wanted to go over it with you. So would it be she mush cha cha?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it'd
that would be. Yes, yeah.
Okay, she mush chong. Okay, is it chong?
Chong.
Chong. Okay.
And now that's, so now what you have the example of is there's no verb agreement there because you start the sentence she, right? So I'm gonna do the eating, so cha is him or her eating. So it have to be
Okay.
she, mush something, che shong. I'm eating.
Che shong. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
che shong. Now, that said to be correct, if you said just ne, man, just ne, mush something, the whole chong, you know, then it's the man eating it, then that's the correct verb agreement between the subject and the verb.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So using clue there in that sentence you just composed, is that clue the same sort of deal as the, like, is it required to be there? Or does it just add extra flavor or?
I think it's probably structurally better to have it there. I know we've gotten lax to kind of eliding it out the window. Yes, you know, for simple sentences, but the Ibushri Donshri Chong is correct. But more correct is Ibushri Donshri Fu Chong.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, so it, again, not required, but better. Because you got the three ones, right? You got fu, moving verbs, hot, stationary situation, and to hump, unknown place. So where are you going? So that means where, to hump. There, la is it? You don't know where it's at. Is it to the moon, to the store, to the beach, on the mountain? You don't know. That's to hump. Tom, Yash, where are you going? That Tom, Yash, where the heck is it that you're headed? You know, kind of thing. So there's three of them. There's cool, hot, to hump, to hump. More sentences, anybody? Anybody can read a sentence, please?
Temo, Resi.
He, so he says, hey, ma, did you see the pigeon? Hey, ma is pigeon. Did you see it? I did see it. I didn't see. Oh, that was a good question. The negation do goes in front of the verb. So just ne nasta, just ne do nasta. The man is not running. Just name mush John, he's eating cow meat. He just named mush do John, he's not eating the cow meat. So always put your negation in front of the verb. At the front.
I have one.
Yeah.
Shamahe. She Elaine Atni.
Okay, again.
Shamahe. Shamahe Hushi Elaine Atni.
Oh, Ta'atni. Oh, in Crescent City?
Yes.
So small hat.
Small.
Yeah, or you got
My name Elaine.
yeah.
Crescent City.
Yeah, Crescent City. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So now, just so you know, for the future,
Yes.
so there's two aunties in our language. So Sha'te or Mate is your dad's sisters. Ma is your mom's sister. Yeah, so that one you just said is on your mom's side of the house, which is correct. Because your mom and here are, we're sisters, right?
Can you write that on the board?
Yeah, so, and it happens.
Let's change.
So. You got a feminine side of them and a masculine, right? Yeah. So. Dad is auntie, right? Mom, right? Is auntie. But ma, dad are your dad's sisters. This is your dad's sister. Mom, dad are your mom's sister. Okay, so if. Yeah, we were wrong, I think that, right, I was wrong, because, what, well, because.
No, she's right. Yeah.
I know, I'm trying to think of how far she goes. Right, so Elaine and your mom and sister.
Maternal,
It's got to be paternal, I guess, it would be multi.
yeah.
And then now, if Jean was your dad, then it would be mom dad. Wait a minute, I gotta think this through.
You're right, if she was my father.
Father.
My father's sister,
Right.
not the
Oh.
maternal.
Oh, wait, yeah, we're going too far. So your mom. Siblings and your dad's siblings. So this is your dad, it's your parentage. So let me think this through, quick, I say it right, because if, so my mom was Eunice, right, actually Eunice. So her siblings are this side. This side.
Yeah.
And then this is my dad's siblings, so my Aunt Dora, my Aunt Margaret, that's on this side, because my dad's siblings, they're mocking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it goes back to then, you're right, because Elaine and your mom were sisters, right? So they're on this side. So it's the woman's side, so that's just a,
Maternal.
yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, so on our maternal side, this is my side. This here's the paternal side. Yeah, I get that straight. So these two people got married. And these are their siblings, right? Yeah. And it happens to uncle too, okay? So your fraternal uncle is Naa-ch'it, right? Yeah. Naa-ch'it. And then over here, it's Dee-ni.
No, other way. And
That is uncle, right? You're right, Trina, and then Trina over here. And there's evidence that this was true for every relative in our family tree, but all that's left is auntie and uncle for sure.
Grandparents used to.
They used to, we found grandma to be true, and also, what was that when we found soccer numbers for true, for grandma? It was,
I got a list.
yeah.
There's a whole list of it.
There's a whole, and then when we've been comparing the selects, because they speak our same language, they notice that it flip flops too a little bit, which is unfortunate, like, what I mean, like, it's not standardized, like, this is your mom's side of grandma, this is your dad's side of grandma. Then sometimes different speakers would flip it back and forth, but this would seem to be pretty standardized, your aunt and uncles. The way you say them is very standardized. We have Ahmet for grandpa and Shrew for grandma, but there's also another way to say, I can't think of what they are right on top of my head, for grandpa and grandma is another way to say it. I think Eddie Lopez said some, in that recording in 1956. But those seem to have eroded away for clarity. This stayed pretty static, if you're on your dad's side and mom's side.
We found a list of, I don't know, Kroger, whoever came before Kroger, it was like full paradigm of maternal and paternal, like 2 pages.
All the family relatives,
Yeah. In his orthography.
that's the hard part, yeah.
So now we have to unravel his orthography to pull that back out. But this here was used when I was a kid, this part here, you know. And I guess, you know, whatever. So, but anyway, so that's kind of different between moments, but what I found interesting structurally, well, how do you say woman?
Do we know what the cultural reason for the distinction between mom and father side?
What's
That's a
that?
question. What was the cultural reason for the distinction between mom and father side?
I think it goes back into our sociological history that when the woman got married, right, she would leave her town and she'd go live in her husband's town. I think that's really where it comes from, because all of your dad's sisters would be that way, and all your mom's sisters and brothers would be that way, because they're living in a different town. You know, because they didn't want to try to marry the same people in the same town. It was kind of not protocol. And so I think that really is the whole thing, because when you're in town at your own dad's place, those were your ma dad. And when you're on your mom's place, and that's her brothers, that's, you know, or her sisters, that's almost like. I think that's what drove it, I believe, you know, that difference. Do you know who you're referring to? Tell them. I think that. John, I think that. So what I'm gonna show you though, look at this word, wrong fact. What's this word? Wrong fact. So your mother's side are the women. If you think about it, the word itself. I mean, that's connected. See, this is the pronoun, like the closer. Huh? The closer. Yeah, the close woman, the mud.
None.
That means close female. And then strong is some woman. I mean, any woman. Yeah, or this is your intimate woman on your mom's side. Over here, ma, dad, I'm not sure, and then me, dad. And then treating it. Now, those are the passive here, which means something. So maybe some man versus something very close to you. See, the mud means close to you, mud. You know, that's it, yeah. So that's it. Yeah, we can get on so many wonderful rabbit holes. We love it. Yeah. Oh, so what's the verb in that sentence?
Oh, it should be at the end.
Hey, go with that?
Okay.
Yeah. Right, exactly, perfect. Congress to stays caught, not a tool, the Pelican Ocean winds. Now, you could put a post position in like in.
Yes, I was trying
to. Met.
I have met.
Yeah, but it goes right between the verb and the, right at the end.
At the end, okay.
Met, no, not the end, met, not met not to. Met not to. So talk with you, seems called met not to.
Okay.
Met not to. All right. So I want you to pick out your favorite sentence and put an adjective in it now.
Oh, we have another second.
Oh, we have more? Okay, good.
You want to share it, Drew?
I was just correcting the spelling of the ones. They're the same old sentences, just correctly spelled.
Well, then you better say them correctly.
I'm correcting myself on that, Malashne, so.
Oh, shine.
Che Gashe, Che Shong Te. Che Shong.
I'm gonna eat eggs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, wash on. Okay, now take one of your favorite sentences and add an adjective, which means to change how it is. So, red, black, tall, small, little, male, female, whatever adjective you want to use in there. So now you gotta find adjectives, right? But it follows the noun. So the trauma and tra next. The trauma a tree next. That doesn't make sense. The short tree is tall.
You want to add, you want an adjective, not a quantifier, right?
Well, the quantifier is the verb. Let's do an adjective straight out for like a color, size. So So you just add it to the right of your noun. Always goes on the right side. Slon is a quantifier, which does work like an adjective, right? So when you say, you just name nasta, you just name slon nasta, you gotta change the verb.
Yeah.
Now, we did hear Global Richards, actually, Global Richards not inflect though, he said, he just name nasta, I think it was, and then he said 3 minutes, right? Said take just name nasta. He didn't change the verb, he just changed the number on the nouns. I said, you didn't just hear that? He said it that way, instead of changing the verb. Yeah, he kind of said it simple, but it still means 3 men running.
Yeah, you understood what he said.
Yeah, I totally understood what he said, but we were always, told to change that verb to the plural form, na rashta versus nafta, because there's 3 men now, not just one. Yes.
So if I, Takwishu, see, I'm trying to say, maybe not to. That right, the order, right?
Yes, the blue ocean, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Slip means smoke, and shun means black, so when you mix them together, you get blue. Or that's how that word is composed. That's what I love about language, you can parse things apart and see how they were getting there. Like earlier, street red, street pink, because red and white makes pink. Yeah.
So it's interesting that some words like Lashmi doesn't really have a meaning to sound, or Chandina, right? Is that the same thing?
Yeah, because human names are kind of a special category, because remember, when you give a human an adult name, it can't be directly after anything in the universe, right? Because it's already owned by somebody.
Right.
The bear, the cat, the tree. So you would take the noun and you would alter it somehow. Like her daughter's name is True Lai Tret. Well, True means to fish by line, and Tret means woman. But instead of saying True Tret, which could be some person, they change it True Lai Tret. They raise the vowel. So just changing it that much becomes a personal item for that human being. True Lai Tret versus True Tret. So human names, are kind of their own category.
Not able to do it. Is that changing the name?
It is.
Not, is that?
Yeah.
It's 2 pairs?
Two pairs.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I do, yeah. Or you could, yeah, you're changing, Easton too, yeah, that's what my Aunt Maddie named, her grandson, Joey. She always looks like a little bear, so she named it Easton too, yeah, right when he was born, so she always called him Easton too, yeah. See, you're changing it,
Pass.
No, it's from Washington.
Who is it?
Joey Lucas. Yeah, his sister Shelley, yeah. Any more discussion about I know, like I said, it's tough, but as far as walking around, but the whole point of this, I want you to just practice making your sentences is my thing. Now, take your,
What, I got a question.
okay, got a question.
What's the word for that thing you put hot things on? Not a hot pad. They're made of different things like metal, ceramic.
Trivet.
A trivet?
Trivet. TRIVET, isn't it?
What's the word in Dee-ni?
Well, what I know off the top of my head is what, sus, what noosh, or sus, what noosh, or so hot upon is put.
Okay.
Yeah, sus, what noosh, ush.
What?
That's about right.
Aye, sus, what noosh, ush. That's a trivet.
Neutral.
Trivet. And we used to, the women would be, weave baskets, flat baskets for that, like put chili beans or pot of beans or pot of stew or acorns on that. They're flat like this would, they're, that's stuff.
Shining la.
Jutnani Ladila Dami way up. What's that say? Not what's na. See if it's na. What? Oh, what aren't you typing?
I was.
Sorry, she's busy. I'm trying to what? Now, is there an LH there? Do, huh? In it? Yeah, what means battle. Is there an LH in that one? Let's take a look.
Fight, right? I mean,
It's a battle, yeah. Latinos. I had it open in there. Oh, that's the other way to say it. Okay,
Or.
forgot about that.
look up,
We borrowed the word soldier from English too. Yeah. Soldiers was borrowed from Tolowa to S-U.
So is this one wrong?
No, leave there.
yes.
That's
No,
wrong.
he said,
No, it's two ways to say it.
nah, what?
Yeah, knock up top.
X, V, she's got K bottle.
X,
Oh,
X,
X, oh.
XWVT, don't I?
XWDT, right? Is it, Scott?
Oh, that I'm still looking at. I just meant the what.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Why, must put
What's the
some
other
K, not-
soldier?
Soup, yeah. SU, yeah, yeah. And it's borrowed from soldiers, the word soldiers. So soup, yeah. Yeah, soup, yeah. Yeah, it's a borrowing. We borrowed that from, not a sneaky way out.
Slade and-
Sat me down last time and trying to figure out what these look like funny bad. Grandkids. What way he say?
Oh, yeah, here, my grandkid, the grandkids throwing a ball.
Guess that's what I was saying.
Yeah. But try was, please say, yeah, it's throwing the ball.
I was thinking of army, not fun. Like the whole army, not a soldier,
Oh,
not what's fun.
well, you know.
Well, that's what I always thought, I think, Srini, you know, or Tree,
So you can type in that one too for that person, whoever it was,
you know, Dee-ni.
that, it also will be leading, I just, yeah, can be. Me. Right. What these people used to be was these were the enforcers. So, like the bosses.
Yeah.
So like if somebody committed a murder against somebody in your family, somebody desecrated or you know, hurt one of your ladies or something like that in your tribe, your family, they would go arrest them. Their job was to arrest these people and bring them to justice, and then have to have court. It wasn't kangaroo court or whatever you call it, it was real court, you know, but so that's me, Fishkai, and I was told that in the house where these men stayed. They lived under the Hashkai, which is the head man. They never, the whole time they're in his house, like for dinner or visiting, they never sat down on their rump. They always squatted. So they squat like this. So that they could jump up at any moment. Say if somebody comes in the door, and gonna attack somebody, they sprung off, you know, off of their squat.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, so that's dox jump, you know, dox jump, they're squatted, and that's how they sat, that's how they talked. They didn't sit down, you could, you know, flat on the floor or on the stool because of that, so. But that's me and Fishkai, and they're the people that, you know, were good at battle, you know, archery, swimmers, wrestlers. They knew every tool, how to use a knife, how to use you know, like a damn called chun, you know, the stick knife, you know, with the obsidian on the end, all that stuff, they knew that stuff. And they
kind of thing.
yeah, and if they were good, they also were hired. So say, what if somebody, yeah, like say Rick was having a war with another village. They would say, these guys are good Nehashkai, so they pay them to come fight with them. Yeah, they were paid to, so they could be, their services could be purchased as well for these Nehashkai. So that really, see, that's our traditional warrior. But in English, they always called the bosses, like when they would build a fish dam, this took a big organization because all these men had to get together and collect all this material enough to build a dam across the river. So they organized that. They contacted people, they made sure they had food to eat. They showed them, you know, make sure they put the post in the river the right way and did the lattice work. So that's the meat fish fry. Same with sea lion hunt. And these guys led that as well. So, but then it could go to war too, so we get attacked by somebody. They were the first line of defense, so. So, yeah, not what So there's some cultural context there, right? Because going to war like we did in World War I and II, we weren't used to that kind of war. You know, like full on nation versus nation. It was more like district versus a district, which is like a nation in a way to a nation. But that was a cute story that I guess there was a war one time between Rekboy and Takamisting and Hupa. And so they saw the warships, boats going back and forth. The people at Rekboy go, oh, look, they're going to war, enjoy. You know, meaning that they didn't say now it's all the Eroks against all of the Hoopas. It was this headman and his problems with this headman and his problems, and then you can work that stuff out. You know,
Stop spilling those ladies.
Yeah, you gotta pay for them, you don't like women, right? All right, so, yep.
I just, I want to say, from squatting like that or whatever, his glutes are strong.
Well, this part is called, he says that, stop chop, which means to squat, okay, like this. Not me, way me, reason. So he says that.
Yeah.
He says that, das chop, because of squatting, not me, way me, reason. The reason is, so the reason is a verb.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, his thigh, I guess it's just.
Want me to type in there, or you want to write it up there?
Yeah, so. No.
Well, it helps them too, so they can feel. I don't think I knew that. Well, I wanted to know that word too, from them working it out a lot. Oh.
Squat. Oh, that's chop.
Yeah.
That was shot.
Well, it means to pinch, right? So when you squat, you're
pinching your leg.
Pinching your legs. You know, you're pinching your knees.
Pinch
So
maybe.
once you don't have to squat.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. What's a pinch then? Oh.
So we can think of reason as a noun in English, right? What's the? Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So, see that thing I talked about last time, the predicate? Like, it's both an adjective and a verb at the same time, in a way, you know, so.
So that what you said, it's not butt, is it?
Say it's the leg,
It's the
Thigh?
your hamstring.
Yeah, the hand.
Hammies.
Your hands.
So
Say,
I'm negative in that.
so say, he said that you, hands. What's the wrong word for humans? Your boots? No, this is up here.
Your hamstring.
Hamstring. Yeah, your hamstring.
His hammy.
What? Oh, you know what? That's the wrong word.
Oh,
He said that, oh, not me, sorry, and I'm doing the wrong way. Right there. Yeah, he said, not me, Dr. Chop, way.
Is that someone that not?
That's not how you strong.
Okay.
Yeah, so that goes right here. Yeah, not, not me, not Chop, way. You've got strong, hamstring because of the squatting you done, right? You know, air squats and CrossFit. You go.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so more sentences, so you take.
We have 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes left. So you've added an adjective, so for your homework, why don't you try to write, like, do 20 sentences throughout the week, or, well, not the week, not this week. meet for a little bit now,
What's our next date?
The 13th.
Of November.
of November.
November 13th.
So it's still, yeah, we're on track.
Every 2 weeks.
No, I mean, when that's when they'll be.
Yeah, 13th.
So, yeah, I just write 20 sentences when you like, you're sitting bored at work or in the house, knitting and crocheting.
Sitting bored at work, I like that.
I wish that would be days.
You caught me in my bias, what?
You're so- I don't know. So we have the next date as the 13th, the 27th, and then December 11th are the next 3 dates for throughout this calendar year.
Any other questions before we log away?
Oh, and then we're gonna be having visitors on the 11th of December.
Yeah,
We'll talk about
so
that.
real quick, everybody, so there's visitors coming to do we're creating a documentary film that's 30 minutes long about how Tolowa became a written language, right? So we're going through the history of the Welfare Association, then went into all the advocates and all the elders we had, and it became a written language. And so these filmers who are making the film wanted to know if it'd be okay with you to come and set up in the corner, and we'll have a class going on the 11th, and just get some footage to fill in, to use in the movie.
What do we do with the language now? Yeah. what are we
Yeah,
trying to do?
here's an example of language being taught right now. Is that?
On the 11th of
December.
The December 11th, okay.
Is that okay? I mean, and if you feel uncomfortable, then that's fine too.
You said they keep people who don't want to be filmed, like.
Use the back of
Don't buzz
it.
your face out. You know they do in the murder movies?
Let's make it skinnier.
Yeah, so anyway, that's just going to be a part of that.
And then we're hoping to do the county visual on the 18th.
Oh, cheat code. So Tolowa Nation wants to put on a visual.
That's what
there
we're
on the
trying to
18th.
do for the 18th of
What do you guys think
December.
about it? We haven't been there yet.
Yeah, so I got a hold of the harbor commissioner and he told me there should be no problem. And to get a hold of this other guy, who hasn't called me back yet, so it's in the works right now to go ahead and have that there. He's gonna have it at the memorial site, or just let him know what we're trying to do.
I think that the memorial site would be the place, because they have that little facsimile of a village there. Have you guys been to it? That in Harbor. Oh, yeah, they put a memorial there for the old village that was there.
So that's like the Sunday, the 18th, we were thinking about joining there and just doing a little candle vigil and what we've done in the past, we did at Yawtucket and Ichulette and Ta'atin and Townquet and now.
Yeah. And now we thought, let's go to Cheat, and because there's other places like, my gosh, we could, there's, well, how many, what were there, 80 villages? Before the Holocaust, but we thought that'd be nice to do one every year. We've had a little bit of a hiatus for a few years now.
And there's an account that happened right there, this documented at Cheat, right there at Chetco.
And then, anybody that descends from that village, that would be good, because we wanted to do the reading of names. We always do that.
Ancestral names.
Ancestors' names. So if anybody that's from there, like anybody who's a Van Pelt, for example.
So I'll put that in the newsletter.
Spell words in the field there. They're all from there, from that village. The Paynes, it's not the Paynes, they're from different villages, but they live there now.
They live in it.
Yeah.
We're hoping to go to Lone Ranch in the future too.
There's Lone Ranch,
Oh, yeah.
there's a ton of places that we could have one. But
That's
that's
really powerful.
Yeah.
December the 18th. And then would we eat, like come back and eat or anything like that?
Yeah, so we'll definitely have some kind of food. I wasn't sure what they had there or, because it's gonna be winter. We can come back here. I mean,
It'd be nice to have some stew or something cold,
some couple different kinds of soups and.
something like that. So we would just, be nice to build a small prayer fire, just like we always do, to say prayer. And then, sing a dance song and then read the names.
They done Nagash.
And so that's the 19th through the 23rd, isn't it?
Nagash is the 19th to the 23rd of December.
Yeah.
And this other is the 18th.
I'm sorry, that was December 19th to the 23rd.
Fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, so anybody that descends from the Chetco River, I mean, it doesn't have to be exclusively there, but if you're from that part of the world, we'd like to include your family names in that reading of names portion. When we did it Houndquick, that was a pretty long list. Yawtucket was a nice long list. H11 was a pretty long list. Cotton was shorter. a little bit, but still there are people from there that actually descend from, Crescent City. So, yeah, it's just acknowledge, that would happen there. I think there were 44 houses right there, along the river before it was all changed. There was 44 plank houses there. And then there was a town on the hill above and across the river on the hill. So there were actually 3 villages, it's like villages and then the sub villages of that village kind of thing. Right now they're building a big house on that.
I want to get on there bad.
That prayer rock right
I
there.
know.
What's his name? Something.
I got to look at-
King Rock.
Well, yeah, and that's where the nets would be set too from right there.
That's what I mean. Dr.
Yeah.
King Rock, I think his name is
Think
that.
so.
rock. These big old house going there right now.
I've been
Above,
watching it.
Fat Irish there.
I didn't know the house was there yet.
Look up there.
They're.
They're Yeah, but anyway, so that's what the plan is. Wuklon, Yutne, Tula Wonte. Oh, there, take all you want, put in your garden, in your flower bed. Wuklon, lots of tea. Lily,
Oh.
Easter lilies, but these are yellow. It's faint yellow, like a soft yellow.
Did it go back? Well, I know tulip does. Does it go back each year?
Yeah, both of these two. That's where these came from. Look how much they split up. I'm getting rid of those because I just did so well. I went, dang, I'm not pleased.
Another question.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Candlelight, does that mean at sunset?
Yeah, usually have it like, it's not because it's dark early, so it's probably gonna be like
Evening,
5:30, yeah, something like that. And then if there is a place to eat there, that would be nice. Or we can come back to Creek Schluck Minute if we want to, or here, we have a hall here. You kind of lose some of your people that way.
So maybe if it depends on the weather, that we could just do a couple of awnings and we could see do that.
True.
We'll figure it out for sure, a bit more details.
Right.
10 pound bag of sugar around. I just want.
So, any other questions?
I do it.
Is everyone good?
Pre-wash, no.
I don't really want to, but I do.
Well, we're 3 minutes over instead of 45, like last time.
Well, I 3 minutes for.
45 minutes last time.
There was. On the cremation part.
It's good though. It's like, gets your brain working. Oh my
You
goodness.
said it on 13.
Clean the vacuum tail.
Clean the clean thing.
Y'all. Clean Luke, hallelujah. Clean Luke, vacuum tail. Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it okay? Works okay. I mean, I think. No, yeah. And if it gets bigger, you know, it's like, you know, if you dig up the tank was so bad.